It is Blast of the Stash. It is the Stashies, the fourth annual Stashies. Joe and myself, and a couple guest stars who haven't been around in a while, but they had to come around for the Stashies. And if this is the first time catching the Stashies, what we do is we look at the previous years. Somebody's volume's up. Who was that? Is Mike making a rookie mistake? He's coming back in here first time in a long time making that rookie mistake.
Way to go, Mikey.
I'm not even fucking wearing.
Well, that's all.
Underpants? He's not wearing pants?
I am not wearing pants.
So what we do is we look at the books from 2019 and kind of go over what we liked, what we didn't like. We got a whole list of categories we're going to go through. But before we jump into that, if you do like what you see here and you want to support us financially, you can go over to Patreon and pick up and enter the Comic Book of the Month Club, which you give away stuff like this, like the Shannon Mayer X-Men #3 or the Greg Horn Black Cat #1. So go over there, check us out. Or you can go over to Teespring and buy a T-shirt like this one. It says, Drew is wrong about X-Men. Changed my mind.
Never been wrong about X-Men ever, but we can go ahead and start talking.
Difficulty shirt. So if you want to go check us out over there, appreciate it. And if you can't support us financially, a thumbs up, a share, a like, all that good stuff is definitely appreciated. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the categories? You got Mike, since you're back,
Yes.
why don't you give us an update on that chat? Who's in there? Who's talking to us tonight?
I don't recognize anybody anymore.
You don't?
I haven't been on the show in months.
He's been retired.
All these new people, the only ones I recognize are Double S. I don't think he ever leaves. I think he just stays in the chat waiting for my return. And then Discovery Bay, we got Caffeinated Comics, Comic Books, Boogie Bentley.
That's my boy Boogie from over there at the SNB Network. They do Comic Cast on Sunday nights, and that's also where I do the Cantu Manchu Review Crew on Wednesdays. So check that out. What's going on, Boogie?
All right. So
Okay.
Okay. Well, so my movie quote is...
Oh, no movie quotes. We don't do movie quotes. You've been gone in far too long, Mike. Far too long.
Damn it, I had a movie quote ready to go.
That's the first time he's ever been ready. So we'll go ahead and jump into the first categories. And, of course, too, we want to hear what you think in the chat. And when we're going through these categories, if you had your favorite Funko Pop, let us know. If you had a favorite comic book series, Marvel series, DC, Independent, let us know in that chat. So let Mike swig his Dr. Diet what? Coke?
Pepsi Max.
Caffeinated Comic Book said he just tweeted it out. Thank you. We definitely appreciate that. Okay, let me go back into here. First category for tonight is Pop Pickup of the Year. Let's start with the Pop Master. Let's start with Mike. What is your Pop Pickup of the Year?
Oh, man. Well, let's see here. I've been holding on to this one all year long. It is a chase. It is runner-up Pop Pickup of the Year. I got it from Bella's Books. They're local here. Joey knows all about them. That's the Daredevil chase, the Punisher.
Oh, is that where he's holding the mask?
That's where he's holding the mask.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw this, I wanted it, and I got it early this year. Another runner-up, I don't want to pull down, but I did get Mick Foley. Thanks to Joe, as a matter of fact. Mick Foley's autograph on his Funko. Jeff Hardy, I also got his autograph on his Funko. But the Pop Pickup of the Year, paid a little bit of money for this. The last Masters of the Universe Pop that was made, they lost a license.
You get that in Chicago, didn't you?
I did get this.
I was standing right there when you picked it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, really happy to have this. I still need Ram Man. If anyone wants to send me that $150 Ram Man, still need that. But yeah, Masters of the
what's that
Universe.
sticker there, Mike, on the front of that? Where's it from?
Emerald City Comic Con, actually.
Oh, isn't there something going on in Emerald City this year?
Is there?
Yeah. God, I just threw you that softball and you just fluffed it.
Boogie Bentley says, I love the new Boogie Bentley says, I love the new Fantastic Four pops, but I'm not sure that's a 2019 or 20 release.
They've been out for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
But they're pretty cool. I dig them.
The Thing, I got it right here. Oh,
That was
and
neat.
now. Thing looks amazing.
Your thing does look amazing. Joe, do you have any
You would know.
Funko Pop? You don't pick them up, but your wife gets them, right?
No, actually, I did pick up a pop this week. It's Drew Manchu in disguise. It's
Oh, it's the dude.
The best part of Endgame. Me.
Oh, it's a fat Thor. Oh, okay.
I'm joking. No, I don't. My wife picks up pop. I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's funny. And then she was like, hey, I need to get rid of some of these. And I saw this and I was like, okay. We got 3 guys on the show. All 3 got beard. So, it's one of them in disguise. So there you go.
I'm the best looking one, so call me Hemsworth.
How about
Shout
you,
out to-
Drew?
I picked up 3 pops this year, and they were all Christmas gifts for my daughter. So I think my favorite out of the 3 was the ugly sweater Thanos, which goes with my Thanos collection. Thanos pops are really the only that I pick up every time I see one. Beyond that, my pop collection is very minimal. But that ugly sweater Thanos I thought was pretty cool. It's upstairs. I'm pulling that off the shelf.
Yeah, for me, for the pop pickup, I have not been picking up Funkos just because I kind of got condensed down to a smaller space. I don't really have a way to display them as much as I used to, so I'm kind of really slowed down picking them up. I did get a few for my birthday, and didn't get any for Christmas. But my pop of the year has got to be my Stan Lee, like the bronzed one, or the Matina, or whatever you want to call him. But Funko Pop, that's.
I think it's Patina.
Patina?
Yeah. Matina is that guy who traced all those covers.
Oh, sorry.
Patina's like a finish.
Sorry, I misspoke. Okay, so moving on to anything else on the Funko Pop?
Well, real quick in the chat, we got comic Discovery Bay comics in the house, Caffeinated Comics. They're all chatting back and forth. Double S is in the room. What's up, brother? Thank you for coming out. Comics Misexplained. What's going on, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. And yeah, they're just chatting back and forth about Stan Lee, addicts, and good stuff like that.
Okay, moving on to
That Doom's pretty sweet.
the Pop Series of the Year. Joe, do you have any Pop Series of the Year?
I have this one right here. It's Mike in disguise.
You can't go with me because I got too much white in my beard.
That's me, but I'm not in disguise. I'm fat. I'm fat and I have a beard.
So no, I don't. I think my wife's collecting Harry Potter right now. I don't know. Expelliarmus and shit like that. I don't know.
How about you, Drew? Okay, I'll get back to you, Mike.
I do shop for pops quite a bit because my daughter's a pop collector, so I see all of them as they come out. And I have to say that probably the best pops that have been coming out all year are the Marvel 80th anniversary pops. They've done a lot of really great looks at characters they've done before. That Scarlet Witch is really cool. The Shadow Cat was dope. The original 5 X-Men, those are really cool pops. The Namor that came out, that was really great as well. So, see the Black Widow. Look at that. That's the original Black Widow. So there have been a lot of really great pops from that 80th anniversary run from Marvel. I think there's been some really great details on those that you haven't gotten in similar characters in past years.
Again, too, with me, I haven't been picking up Funko Pop. I did order the complete set of the Tombstone characters, Wyatt Earp and his brothers, as well as Doc Holliday. I emailed my comic store, said I got to have these in my life. I need to order these. And I think I did order a couple of the Fantastic Four run that's coming out, the Galactus, the Doctor Doom. I think the Thing. I didn't order all of them, but I did order a few because that's the first time Galactus has ever been a pop. Or has he been a pop?
Yeah, and why is he small? Shouldn't he be a big one?
Yeah, he should be a big one.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And the Doom Pop is pretty badass, and Mike just showed that there just a second ago. What about you, Mike? Since you are the Road to 2000 guy, what's your Pop Series of the year?
Funny you should. Comics Miss Explained said Red Death is my pop of the year. We'll get back to that. A lot of great pops. The series came out this year. The Big Bang Theory pops, them dressed as superheroes. The Jaws pops came out last year. What else? The Simpsons, the Treehouse of Horrors pops came out.
Wasn't there some president ones too, with the presidents, like crossing the Delaware and Benjamin Franklin and all that? Amanda got on the boat.
The historic figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I got Albert Einstein. He came out last year. But like Comics Miss says, I think the best series is the DC Metal, the Multiverse. Here's the one he was talking about, the Red Death Batman.
Oh, nice.
Also in that line is the Dawnbreaker Batman. And, of course, the Batman Who Laughs.
Joe had to add that in there.
Batman Who Laughs, a.k.a. the most oversaturated character in the history of comics. He passed Deadpool in 1 year for oversaturation.
Joe. Okay. Moving on from Funkos. Now we're going to move more into the comic book realm. And we're going to start with our Marvel series of the year. We'll start with Drew on this one.
Hoxpox, baby. Hoxpox. Nothing was even close to as good in any publisher as House of X Powers of 10. I got the hardcover, just reread it the other day. It's absolutely fantastic. R.B. Silva and Pepe Larraz on the art. You got Hickman rewriting the history of the X-Men and giving you a nice little plot to start from. All the series since then have been solid, and it's a really great jumping on point, but it's just one of those series that weekly you got a mind-blowing cliffhanger, and weekly he took what you knew about the story he was telling, erased it, and started telling a different story. It was absolutely fantastic. Nothing that came out in the last decade is even close to as good as Hoxpox was.
Yep, I definitely have to agree. House of X, Powers of X. It was one of those titles that kind of like it started slow for me. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into this, but it had some really great issues. Like you said, some great cliffhangers, some great action, and a great, revamp of the X-Men titles and all that stuff.
That third chapter, the House of X Part 2, the Moira X issue, might be the best comic book that's ever been released. Might be the best single issue that's ever been released. I can't think of anything that even comes close.
I'm not picking up all the X titles since then. I picked up a few that I'm really digging. I'm not picking up all of them. X-Force, X-Men, and Marauders. Those are the three that I'm still continuing.
Those are the best three.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, going to Mike. Have you been keeping up on reading since you've been busy with your other job?
I have been reading. I'm currently a week behind on my books because I don't go to the comic book shop that often. For some reason, on Wednesdays they have me working real late, and I don't get in there. But I still been reading. But there've been some great Marvel series. Guardians of the Galaxy's been pretty good. Venom, Punisher, Spider-Man Life Story came out last year. That was pretty good. But I'm gonna have to agree with you guys on the Powers of X. What would you say, the Hoxpox? I had to go to the clinic one time to get that treated.
That was way back when
you can't cure that. That's a gift that keeps on giving.
Got that shit in Baltimore, baby. But yeah,
I gave you that shit in Baltimore.
The fallout from Powers of X and all that, the books that came out, like Dave said, the Marauders. Marauders is one of my favorites out of the bunch, but they've all been pretty solid. So.
And moving on to Joe after he sips his scotch there.
So Hoxpox was awesome, definitely, but I just couldn't give it to Hoxpox this year. I took what comic book I would read, and every time I would read it, I just got tons of action and just mind numbingness, just sick stuff going on in it. So I'm actually going with Savage Avengers on this one. Every episode of this I picked up would just kind of woke me back up, because when you read a bunch of comic books at one time, you tend to kind of doze off. I would grab this, read it, and it just woke me up every time. It was really cool watching Conan and who am I thinking of? Wolverine interact with each other. I thought that was really great. We didn't get one of those stupid long battles where the two heroes kind of sit there and fight each other. Like 3 panels, that's over with, and you're back into the action. So I really enjoyed this run, and it was a tough choice for me, but this is my pick of the year.
Boogie Bentley said you all spelled Daredevil wrong.
He spelled wrong. So come on, Boogie, get it together.
He did. So that reminded me too. What is your pick of the year? What is your Marvel series of the year? Let us know in that chat.
Okay. Daredevil was really good. The
real quick
covers were great. I thought that the Zdarsky story was awesome. It just didn't. It wasn't something that lit the world on fire for me.
What did you say, Joe?
Real quick in the chat room, Comics Mixes Complaint says Fox, Daredevil, and Hulk. Hulk was a good read this year. Bueller's in the room. He says, "What's good evening, gentlemen." Apparently, he doesn't know us very well, I'm guessing. The chat goes back and forth. Yeah, that's
Comic Core hanging out in there. What's going on, gang?
Okay, moving on to the next category, and it is DC Series of the Year, and I will start this one out. I was trying to find a DC title. The first part of this was really good. I think, and it's still kicking up and being a good, solid title, and that is Batman: Curse of the White Knight by Sean Gordon Murphy. The art and the writing in this is great because I love that historic aspect of having Batman and the Waynes in Gotham, and kind of how they have this feud with Azrael's family. So it's been really great and a solid title, and I'm looking forward to this wrapping up. Here, I think we're on issue 5 coming out, so it's still continuing to be good. So that is my DC pick of the year, Batman: Curse of the White Knight. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, Curse of the White Knight is good. I haven't read a lot of DC. I kind of left Batman. Batman's a hot mess right now. Suicide Squad ended, but they just got back. I loved issue number 1. I think, my pick for DC book of the year is Deceased. I like that. So.
Yeah. One comic book store, he was saying they actually enjoyed it too, and I was kind of like on the fence with it. It had good parts and bad parts, but it was okay. What about you, Joe? Your DC title for 2019?
I really enjoyed this Batman and Superman and their whole dealing with the metal crew as well. This was just a fun read. It wasn't too deep or anything, and had some great artwork, some great covers in it. It's a very nice short run, so you don't have to get too crazy with it. Definitely something I'm going to stash into my collection there.
What about Drew and your DC series of the year? You've been hammering on DC for the past year.
Let's just talk about the fact real quick. I'm going to get on my filibuster.
He's getting the mic closer.
Just a minute here, and we're going to talk about how everybody kind of struggled to find which DC book they like the best, because DC fucking sucks right now. They're really, really bad. Batman's terrible. Superman's terrible. Suicide Squad ended. Tom Taylor's number 1 was pretty good, but Deceased was what it was. It was a little Elseworld story that was fun. I kind of enjoyed the Dark Multiverse one shots they came out with, but I can't even give a nod to that because they were inconsistent. There were a couple that weren't any good. So I'm going to give the best DC characters have been this year was in indie crossover, Justice League Black Hammer. Justice League Black Hammer was great, but it was great because it was Jeff Lemire and Black Hammer. It's the best that the Justice League has been in over a decade. So yeah, there you go. Justice League Black Hammer, a little bit of Dark Horse coming in there to save DC.
Well, I know, Joe, you had praised that book as well throughout this whole time.
Yes, but I had it under a different category.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, no, we'll get to that then. Okay, we got a few things in the chat.
Caffeinated Comic Books is lying again in the chat. Is there any way we can ban him? Or is he the only guy who watches the show?
Objectively false? Or who had the best pick?
Boogie Bentley.
Well, without Tomasi, Super Sons, Snyder's Justice League is my favorite of 2019.
Snyder's Justice League was just all over the place. It's like it was good one issue, and then it was just convoluted mess the next three, and then good for another issue, and then Tinian would take over, and the art would fall off, and then you get another good issue here and there. I had to drop that, man. I could not continue spending money on that.
Okay, moving on to our next category, and that is Indie Series of the Year. We'll make that clockwise turn. We'll go to Mike for your indie pick of the year.
Of course, I don't have a copy of the book with me. Indie Book of the Year, I thought about TMNT, which I recently started reading again, about issue 90, with the inclusion of the female turtle, Jenica. Got a copy of that right there. City at War has been pretty good. Something is Killing the Children is awesome, but I think my pick for Indie Book of the Year is Die. I really like that. Jumanji meets Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff. So
I don't know if I've ever asked this question. Were you a Dungeons and Dragons guy when you were a kid?
I never played the tabletop stuff, no.
Okay.
But I've always been an RPG fan since the NES days, playing Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy.
I don't like how Final Fantasy had sequels. It was the Final Fantasy. Shouldn't have been the last one.
It should have.
Okay, moving on to Joe and your independent book of the year.
Oh, easy. Reaver. I've absolutely enjoyed this book. I've hyped it up. I've stashed every, and this has got picked up for more issues as well. So that's really happy. I'm happy about that because where it left off. So I really enjoyed this typical quest story. I really like that. You got your old archetypes going on a quest. It was enjoyable. It was readable, and huge twist at the end of this, which surprised me as well. I thought this was really great. I mean, there was a lot of great indies this year, but when I really was going through the box trying to think about it, this is the only one that really stuck out in my head. So Reaver it is for me.
Drew, do you have your independent book of the year?
Yes, I do, and I'm going to cheat again. Same way I did for Justice League Black Hammer is I'm going to go with a universe, and that indie universe is Black Hammer. That gave me the best book of the year so far in Skulldigger Skeleton Boy, and a fantastic finish to the run of the original Black Hammer cast this year. Also, some fantastic spin-off series. Jeff Lemire's World of Black Hammer is just incredible. Can't say enough good things about it.
I got a couple, but I couldn't find them in my box. I forgot what box I put them in. There have been a lot of great adventure quest type books out this past year. Middle West is one that I could think of. The other, Once in Future, that's been a great book. And probably my favorite book, and it's just a fairly new book. It's only on issue 3 coming out, and that's Folklords. I really loved Folklords. I love the whole questing. We don't know what's going on with him. Why is he seeing in the future, or this other world, or whatever he's looking into to get these inventions, the tie-in with essentially like the Grimm fairy tales kind of stuff. It's been great. I think it looks like a very promising book going forward. So Folklords is my independent pick of the year.
Comics Misexplained in the chat showing some love for Gideon Falls. Also really, really good. Fantastic story.
Before we jump into this category, make sure you give us a thumbs up and a share and a like. Definitely appreciate that. Okay. Maybe else have anything? I agree with my Uncle Drew. Black Hammer was pick of the year.
That's why he's my favorite nephew.
Is that his favorite? We got Gore Vidal in here. Hickman's X-Men was good, but not exceptional. Same for
Shut up. Take that off the screen. He's lying.
And Ewing's all Savage Avengers 2. They were the better Marvel titles.
No, Savage Avengers was garbage.
Gore Vidal knows, baby.
I like Savage Avengers. I thought it was kind of cool to see.
You got 2 good issues and then it fell off real hard.
Okay. We jump into our next category, and that is now we're moving into non-comic book movie. We started with Joe on the indies, right? Didn't we? No, we'll go with Joe. Your favorite non-comic book movie for 2019, and tell us why it was your favorite non-comic.
We acting like there's some kind of order to this? No, I'm joking.
Kind of.
I just got finished watching just last weekend The Irishman on Netflix.
Doesn't have to be a theatrical release.
I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was really great. Basically, it takes a bunch of different Irish mafia stories. It kind of collapses them into one, where you got the guy that's kind of Irish, and then you got the Italian mob, and a lot of this takes place pre-World War II with the typical racketeering, hijacking, black market sales, and then you actually watch how much their network actually expands all the way up into the 70s. But then you watch the sad part of being a mobster, and that's getting old and being in prison. That's usually the case. I thought this was great. I thought Al Pacino did a great job in it. I thought De Niro did a great job in it. A whole slew of actors in there. Even the guy that played Ray Romano. What was his name? That's right, Ray Morano. He's in it as a lawyer, and he's actually kind of funny in it. He's a lot funnier than he was in that stupid show. I absolutely enjoyed this. It's an easy 3-hour watch. Like, you just get yourself some chips and dip and kick your feet up, and I'll tell you what, it will fly by. Great movie. Loved it. Scorsese knocked it out of the park again.
Is it no, I haven't watched it. Is it very similar to Casino? That kind of violence, it's
better. It's better than, and I'm
really
a
good.
huge Casino fan.
Okay, moving on to Drew. So, I mean, you guess you thought it was like a theatrical release. Hey, we're talking about
man. When I think about the best movie of 2019, right, it has to be a movie that I paid money for a ticket and went to a theater and sat down and watched. And because I've only seen one non-comic book movie in the theater this year, it's a real easy pick, and that is the Downton Abbey movie.
Oh, shut up. You did not pay to go see that.
Yeah, I did. It's at my girlfriend.
That doesn't count.
Dude, there's this scene where there's like high drama. It's like really high drama. This lady, right? That like it's raining, and they're like, how do we put the chairs out in the rain? There's not enough servants. And then the rich people put the chairs out in the rain. Dude, it was so good.
Oh, my God. What a moment of clarity there was.
I mean, yeah, rich people can put chairs out in the rain too. Didn't you know that?
Just get paid more to do it.
It is the movie with an assassination plot against the king. This is the most boring assassination plot in the history of film. If you want a good nap, man, go see the Downton Abbey movie.
I remember when my wife and I were first dating, I used to go to all those Jane Austen movies and I love her. I want to go to movies. I want to spend time with you. Now I'm like, hey, here's some tickets. Go see the movie. I'm gonna hang home and read some comic books.
You know, LJ would rather go see those movies than not you anyway.
She probably would. Yeah.
I don't need that half squatch asking me questions and chomping popcorn in my ear.
Yeah. So that's why she wants Outlander. Yeah, because it's a great story. Nothing to do with the guy who plays Jamie Fraser. Nothing. Okay. I'm kind of like with Drew. I didn't really go see any movies that weren't comic book related. The only two that I did see this year were Star Wars, which was okay. I guess that'd be my runner-up because I only saw 2 other movies in theater. I guess my first.
Oh, I did see Star Wars. I thought that the Downton Abbey movie was better.
No,
I think most people would.
My non-comic movie has got to be Rambo: Last Blood, just because of the limited selection of movies that I went and saw.
Was that any good?
Was it okay?
I mean, they put Old Town Road in the trailer, so I was like, nope.
It was R-rated Home Alone.
Oh, that sounds all right.
Well, most of the action was the last
all
15,
Rambo
20
movies.
So, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great by any means. It was kind of cool. It did get me inspired to go back and buy all the other. I bought the Rambo Blu-ray set at Best Buy for like $12, and I watched all 4 of the other Rambo movies. I really watched Rambo 4. I watched it before, but this is my second time around. It was really good. I actually enjoyed it. So I guess it kind of got me back in that nostalgia part of for Rambo. So that's why Rambo Last Blood was my non-comic book movie pick of the year. How about you, Spider Grandpa? You go to the movies all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
I want
I saw a
McDonald's.
few.
Sorry.
Huh?
Mighty LJ says, "Hey, do you want McDonald's?" She must be out and about, and she's messaging me on here on a live show.
I want McDonald's.
Dude, I didn't have carbs all year. I would murder somebody for some McDonald's right now. The problem is I haven't had carbs all year, so I have no energy to lift any sort of weapon.
Oh, you know what? Somebody makes a good point in the room, but I'm not sure if it's accurate. Somebody said John Wick Chapter 3. Did that start as a comic book?
No, I don't think so.
I thought there was a John Wick comic book out there.
There is, but it came out. It was inspired by the movie.
Was it?
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. Non-comic book movie. I did see a few. I saw Fighting with My Family, Crawl, Star Wars, Ma. But at the end, I decided to go with Godzilla King of Monsters. I love the kaijus. It was awesome, I thought. So, and it had 11 in it. So.
Now I've heard that did do too well in the theaters. Did it do okay?
I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Okay. Downton Abbey is better than what?
Star Wars, Rise of blah, 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 blah.
Common Fisher's Plan said Rambo Last Blood should have been about him getting rid of the terrorist he accidentally created during Rambo 3. Yeah.
If you're looking for continuity out of a Rambo movie, you're looking in the wrong place.
There was some continuity.
I think he's more or less confirming the fact that Rambo supplied, helped, and supported Al Qaeda during their fight against Russia.
Yeah. Best movie of the year was Togo. Balto, another dog, got Togo's glory, and Disney spent millions of dollars setting the record straight. 100 years later, best of the 2019 and best dog revenge movie film ever. I've heard that was really good. I haven't seen it yet. Caffeinated Comics said he wanted to see Ford versus Ferrari. That was on my list to go see with some high school friends, but we never got around to do it. And then Gore Vidal said that grew up watching original Upstairs, Downstairs on PBS. And Wise Guys and Equalizer on CBS. So Downton Abbey TV series was a bad ripoff.
Yeah,
I never watched that. I never watched one episode of the TV series. I just went to the movie blind.
Yeah, I have no clue. I have no context. Although Equalizer, I remember Equalizer, but I don't know what anything else.
Rich people putting chairs out in the rain.
So that's been the tagline.
No, you don't want to spoil it. I mean, that was the best part of the movie.
Apparently, I wasn't quick enough to answer my wife via text. She has to come into the live chat and then give us a view and then leave. Okay. That's going in the show notes. Best comic book movie of the year. We'll start with Drew on this one.
Endgame, baby. Nothing else was close. Nothing else was close.
That's it.
What else do I have to say? It was Endgame. What else do I have to say about it?
No, you're good.
How right can I be? How many more words do I need?
I think you did.
Endgame. Yeah, that's got to be my pick of the year too. I did see Joker in the theater. I was about it.
Stellar comment in the chat there.
What's that? I had the one down in the comments.
Me singing karaoke in Chicago is pretty great.
Joker was good. I was on the fence about it. I watched it. I still was on the fence about it.
I
wanted to watch it again, but I'll probably end up buying it on Blu-ray. But it's got to be Endgame. Just because of even if I still watch it today, when Cap at the very end says "Avengers Assemble" and everybody else comes in, goosebumps, goose pimples. Still gives me that. So it's a pretty damn good movie.
The movie made me cry.
I didn't cry, but
Because
I
you're
cried.
dead inside.
I'm dead. My lead heart.
Look, it's the Sasquatch half of you that is not allowing you to feel emotions.
Well, that is a common thing about Sasquatch. They don't have emotions. They're kind of like Witcher. They just kind of very stoic and
just stoic and sleep on purple mattresses.
Yeah, they do. They have little babies that throw pudding on it. Mike, your favorite comic book movie of 2019?
We got a lot of comic book movies this year. I think I pretty much, between me and Joey, we've seen them all. Shazam, Captain Marvel. I saw Captain Marvel without you. Far From Home. I got my top three. Number 3 being Avengers Endgame.
Ew. You're wrong
Number
already.
I know. I'm always wrong. 2 being the Joker. And number 1 is actually, me and Joey saw it together. It's actually Battle Angel Alita. That was fucking amazing. I loved every bit of that movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Fucking awesome.
The trailer wasn't good enough for me to spend money on that movie, so.
So that is my pick.
You're shaking your head in agreement, Joe. Is that your favorite comic book movie too?
It's not my favorite. It's a close second. I liked Joker more than anything. I thought it brought a real surrealism to the comic book movie deal, whereas Endgame kind of played off of the comic book and kind of really built that. I'm not saying it was a bad movie by no means, but if you put all 3 on one of my streaming channels right now and said, all right, watch one of these now, I'd probably pick, I'd pick Joker first. So it's Joker, Endgame, and Battle Alita for me.
Okay.
Joker was a garbage film.
Oh.
Drew doesn't know anything about films.
Yeah, but you must not know anything about Joker because he wasn't in that movie.
Favorite comic book TV show?
I'm not going to debate you tonight because you're weird.
So favorite comic book TV show. I was trying to remember which TV, because there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't watch. I don't watch any of the Arrowverse stuff. I tried to watch Doomsday Clock. I got about 3 episodes into it. Couldn't.
You mean Watchmen?
I'm sorry. Yeah, Watchmen. Sorry. I tried to watch that. Couldn't get into that. And then I went back and looked at what comic book TV shows came out this year. The Boys popped up. Oh, freaking The Boys. The Boys was awesome. I scrolled down a little further. Umbrella Academy. Unfortunately, Umbrella Academy I thought was better than The Boys. I thought it had a lot of character development. I thought it had a lot of good stuff in it. They gave good equal time to each one of the characters and really fleshed them out really well. Even that the one guy, forgot his name. The guy was always on drugs. His character Klaus was one of my favorites there. But so Umbrella Academy is my favorite comic book show of the year. Going on to Mike, what about you? What's your favorite comic book TV show?
Oh man, really got into the Titans this year. Doom Patrol, I started. I got to go back and watch it again. Harley Quinn.
I can't be on the show anymore. I'm disagreeing with this chat too much. What happened? What happened to you guys?
I'm gonna flip it. Say The Boys was the best of the year, and Umbrella Academy a close second.
What was it? The baby eye thing that got you and The Boys?
No, I just like fucking heroes being all dark and evil and shit.
Or was it the guy, the woman squishing that guy's face after she's? Never mind. How about you, Joe? What was your favorite comic book TV show?
I stopped watching all the CW garbage out there this year because that just got weird. So, I watched Umbrella Academy and I watched a lot of other stuff. I just today got Disney Plus, so I'll get caught up on that stuff soon enough. But I got to give it to the boys. Got to give it to my boys on this one. Yeah, they're straight from the comic book slightly, but not so much to where you lost anything. What is just the sickest moments that you could possibly put into a show, they had it in there. Changed up some of the dynamics a little bit, but I think that was just for television, so you could actually view it. So yeah, the boys. I love the. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not sociopathic, but the absolutism of the characters in it. It was just awesome. It was just great, great writing, great viewing. I've watched it twice now this year, waiting on say season 2 to see just what are they going to do next.
How about you, Drew? Favorite comic book TV show?
This might have been the golden age of comic book TV starting this year. You got Titans was great. The first 4 episodes of Swamp Thing were great until they cut the budget.
Oh, Swamp Thing.
The Boys, you guys are all right. The Boys was great, right? But Huey, you're even more right because Umbrella Academy was better. But you're also fucking wrong because The Watchmen might have been the best TV show this year. The flashback nostalgia episode might be the best episode of television I've seen in a very long time. Really, really good stuff. Great characters. Proper sequel to The Watchmen in the way that like Doomsday Clock had Superman and Batman and failed to deliver. So it's like you're talking about a spiritual successor to The Watchmen, carries all of the political unrest that was a part of the original story, and really makes something special out of a tertiary character in that story and some nobodies they kind of just threw together. Really good stuff.
Yes, Mike, you have your hand so raised up there.
I love the Watchmen comic book. I love the movie. I haven't had a chance to watch the TV series yet, but I want to see it really bad. So I'm just saying.
The thing about Watchmen the series is it's not what you expect. Right, you expect it to be one thing going into it, especially with the trailers that they gave you, and 3 episodes into it, it kind of changes its entire direction. Episode 6 to me was so mind-blowingly good. At the end of episode 7, I was like, that's it, this show sucks, they jumped the shark. And then episode 8, they decided that they were going to jump as many sharks as they possibly could, and just like the way that they landed it really cemented it as one of the best television series in a very long time. It's my favorite HBO series of all time. It's better than Game of Thrones. It's better than Oz. It's better than The Wire. It's better than anything else that's been on HBO in a very, very long time.
No, that entire show is
lie to yourself, Joe. You're only hurting yourself.
It's somebody that wrote a story that just made it up day by day. Doesn't make any sense.
It comes full circle and is absolutely perfect. Every loose end is wrapped up.
It
doesn't need a sequel.
The only reason why the so-called ends are wrapped up is because you got to play mental gymnastics to jump through the narrative.
Just because you didn't understand the narrative doesn't mean it took mental gymnastics.
It's a horrible nightmare. It's garbage.
You're just a racist.
What? Why am I a racist?
That's if you don't like Watchmen, you're on HBO, you're a racist. It's really all there is.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The Jewish guy's not racist.
Jewish people can be racist.
You white hair, blonde Maryland guy.
Look at you being racist right there.
Okay, moving on to non-comic book TV show. We'll kick this off. Mike, your favorite non-comic book TV show?
That's very easy. Very easy. It's The Mandalorian. Best thing to happen for Star Wars in a very long time.
Cheers to that.
Tom's Comic Books and Review says, check out my channel. Make sure you go check out his channel. Give a quick shout out to him. Go give him a sub. I cannot go check it out right now because I'm in the middle of doing my show.
And everybody's all about this fucking the child or Baby Yoda or whatever you want to call him. But it ain't all about him. It just feels like old school Star Wars. It's awesome.
Gore Vidal said, I don't have Amazon Prime, HBO, or DC Plus, so I'm disappointed I didn't see The Boys or Watchmen. Boys, the comic is excellent, better than The Wire? ?
Yeah, no.
No. Yeah. I to go back to that,
way better.
I was trying to figure out somebody else was watching The Boys on our account. I'm like, who the hell's watching it? And I found out it was my older daughter. She's 20. She's watching it, and she said, I said, what do you think of it? And she goes, it's bit over the top, kind of. And I said, "Welcome to."
God, aggressively relaxing. I have to block you on all social media. Sorry, buddy. I love you, and I'm upset I won't be able to see that Krakoa plant grow anymore. But Watchmen had the artistic value of fucking art, and Doomsday Clock did not stick the landing. It is the worst thing that has ever happened in the history of comic books.
God,
it's fucking masturbatory. It's Jeff Johns jerking himself off while Gary Frank can't draw a fucking straight line for 12 goddamn issues. It took 3 years. Sweet Jesus. Sweet Jesus.
I'm gonna refill my drink and let that marinate.
Was Mandalorian your non-comic book TV show?
For me?
For Joe?
Oh, for me? No, it wasn't because I haven't watched it yet. We just got the thing today.
Joseph Boomer, he likes NCIS.
Yeah, right. While you're watching Matlock. No. I actually have been enjoying Lost in Space on Netflix.
I watched the first.
That was good.
Yeah. Season 2 finally came out. I went ahead and binge watched that entire thing. There were some things that's like, really, does this need to be a thing? Like they did the women power thing walk where there's like 3 of them who are, with the big brains doing it, and it was cheesy. But the rest of the show has been very, I think, authentic. It hits on a lot of emotions. Definitely the second season is better than the first season. I've really been enjoying it. I just wish this family would catch a break. Because like everything that can possibly happen to these people, it's happening to them in the worst case scenario. But I really like this whole concept of family sticks together, family works together, family lets people in, but not everybody in. That's a kind of a big thing. We kind of have that rule in my house too. Like just because you know us doesn't mean you're like one of us. Like that takes time, and they're kind of that way too. I really enjoy that. I just wish the dad would step up and be a Navy SEAL. We constantly hear he's a Navy SEAL, but he doesn't do anything Navy SEAL-ish. He just kind of hangs out. So kind of want him to step up.
In the future, Navy SEALs just hang out.
Apparently, and play, I don't know what the fuck. But all in all, I really enjoy the show. I think it's a good show with a lot of heart and a lot of meaning behind it, and they really describe family in it. So I think that's why I like that much. I'm going to go cry a little bit now. I'll be right back.
I want to address the chat before I go into my favorite non-comic book show.
Okay. Caffeinated Comics did say he did agree with you on Doomsday Clock.
Hey, man, even the sun shines on a dog's ass some days. He was right about something. Gore Vidal says, is Watchmen better than one of my favorite non-comic book shows, Below Deck Mediterranean on Bravo? I tell you what, man, it might be, but that's a good fucking show, Below Deck.
I don't even know what that is either.
Oh, man, it's a bunch of like hot girls like taking care of rich people on a yacht, and then they like argue and get drunk and throw things at each other. It's fucking
kind of like 3 Girls, 1 Cup thing.
It's like Real Housewives on a boat in the Mediterranean. It's just it's like the dumbest thing ever, but it's entertaining. I'll give you that. My favorite non-comic book show has the best music that has ever been put together for this intellectual property. And that's saying a lot since John Williams did the score of the movies, and it's The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is absolutely fantastic. It has really well-paced storytelling that is very similar to the way that the Star Wars cartoons pace their storytelling. A lot of people were just like, is this all the show's going to be? And I'm like, yeah, like, isn't that enough for you? It's the greatest thing that ever happened. And it's the reason to own Disney Plus until some of that Marvel stuff starts coming out. But yeah, man, the Mandalorian is, and this is the way. I've spoken.
Yeah, I have to go with Mandalorian as well. Just from the very first line that he said in that TV show, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. From then on out, I was hooked. It's kind of waned a little bit here and there. I felt some episodes are stronger than others, but overall, it's been a pretty good show. Do I like it? Do we know more about the character? I don't know. I think I kind of like it with a little more suspense of who this guy is. I mean, we're getting to know him a little bit better. And another deal with Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's cool, I guess, but that's not what the whole show is about for me. I think this is the whole spaghetti western in space.
Get ready for if it's already happening, because me and Joey were at a small little con the other day, and there were already artist covers of Baby Yoda. It's getting ready to hit hard.
Yep.
I already pre-ordered the Funko Pops. Yeah, I even pre-ordered the big ass one. So
yeah, and you're going to the our wives and Mike are going to there's a paint night where you get to paint a baby Yoda.
Oh, really?
But you get to do what you want.
You're going to a paint night, Mikey?
Yeah.
That's like me going to the Downton Abbey
fun.
movie, so it's all right.
Paint nights are fun. You sit around and you drink, eat cheese, and go paint on something. Hell yeah!
I'm gonna paint Baby Yoda as a Sith. So
You know, do Darth Maul markings on him.
yeah,
That'd be dope.
This has got to be a paint by numbers class for Mike, I swear.
I'm very artistic, sir.
1 is green, 2 is red, 3 is brown.
3 is suck my nuts.
I think he just said he was autistic. Did you just say you were very autistic?
Moving on to.
And shout out to The Witcher too. If anybody's watching The Witcher, I'm currently
Witcher's
halfway
good.
through with it.
I couldn't get through the first episode.
I'm
a fan of the game and everything. So
see, I never played the game and I never read the books, but it's just like, oh man, does it drag? Like I get the point that the Witcher doesn't have a personality, but that does not translate well to television.
Well, it does for me because all he does is walk around and go,
fuck. That's what he says.
Fuck.
And the CG is terrible. It's awful. In an era where we get the CG quality in the first couple episodes of Swamp Thing on a TV show, like the CG being that bad in The Witcher is inexcusable. Just my
yeah, to go on The Witcher, yeah, we just finished up the night. I was really confused by it at first because it kept jumping back in time. And then I did research on it. See, I thought it was based off video game. I didn't know there was a series of books that were.
It was a book before it was a game.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And then I started doing research on it. It was saying actually the first 2 books are kind of like independent little stories, kind of building the world of The Witcher. And after I found that out, I was able to kind of get into season 1 a little bit more, knowing that, yeah, they're all connected, but they have their own individual kind of stories going forward. That got me into wanting to play the game. So I put Witcher 3 Wild Hunt in. But his walk in that game is totally different than what, like, Henry Cavill says.
So
he doesn't walk right.
The things that are happening in
swagger
in the game aren't happening. You better hold off on that game.
Why is that?
Because it's so far past what the show does.
Yeah,
oh, really?
It's the future of a story that nobody wants to watch.
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay. Moving on now.
Hit up the chat real quick because it's been kind of.
Where's Paul?
Here. We got right. Where is Paul?
Where's Jeremy? Isn't he on the show?
You was.
Here. We got Caffeinated Comic. I agreed with Drew on Doomsday Clock. Drew is Watchmen better than one of my favorite non-comic book shows, Below the Deck, Mediterranean on Bravo.
He addressed.
They're on par.
Okay.
They're on par.
Okay. Let's see what else. We'll skip down a little bit. Mando was incredible. It's like a modern 1960s Batman. It wouldn't be modern if it's 1960s. With the celebrity guest. Let's see here. Expect Michael or Double S cosplay as Baby Yoda and Gorvna. I wonder if Mandalorian with the Baby Yoda is taking a page from one of Lone Wolf and Cub.
I've heard that a lot too.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Very similar.
Yes, Mike, you're so patiently waiting.
Double S, sir, I will not be attending Emerald City Comic Con because Joey set my house on fire and I have no money. So no cosplay.
Hey, he told me I could smoke outside. I smoked outside.
Okay, moving on to cover of the year. So who started TV shows? We totally got lost there. That non-comic book, or
I did.
You did.
Go that way.
Go that way. Go to Drew. Your cover of the year, Drew, sir.
I'm cheating again because my cover of the year is the Hox Pox #1s, both House and Powers #1s, the connecting Mark Brooks variant. I thought that was had probably the most well done rendition of the most characters on a cover this year. Absolutely gorgeous, and I can pull up a photo. I'll pull up a photo while you guys move on.
Okay. My cover of the year, actually, I don't know if it came out last year. I picked it up at C2E2. I'm not sure if it was like an exclusive cover to that. And it is an Adam Hughes cover, and it is. Oh no, it's not. It did not come out that last year. I don't think. X-Men Black, Emma Frost, Adam Hughes cover there.
Yeah.
So that's Drew's. I mean, let me. I don't want to remove you from the chat. There you go. Okay, the connecting covers there. Okay.
Look at Rasputin.
Yeah, she's hot. But not as hot as Emma on that Adam Hughes cover, but unfortunately she looks like every other Adam Hughes cover ever.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing about Adam Hughes. It seemed like
he's drawn one picture ever. He just keeps doing it over and over again.
But still, it's a pretty hot picture, hot cover there.
He's perfected it.
Yeah, like is it Gwen Stacy that's coming out? I'm like, dude, why? I'm not even gonna bother picking that up. It was just like it is pretty bland to me. Mike, how about you? Cover of the year.
All right, here's some runner-ups. Got a few of them here. This what is this? Catwoman number 12, where she's in the sticker's blocking her face there, but
who's looking at her face, Mike?
Nobody.
Not with those gams on the cover.
Meat and potatoes right there. Throw some barbecue sauce on that. Here's a what is this?
Derek Chu.
Batgirl 32. A Halloween edition of White Widow number 1.
That's a nice cover, yeah.
You dig that White Widow, don't you?
I do. And she might be talked about a little later, too. I don't even know what book this is. But
eventually, he'll read the comic book.
That's a Greg Horn cover.
Greg Horn, yeah, but is it
Batman Who Laughs or something?
I don't think so.
I don't know. But here's this one.
That was awesome.
I wanted that one.
That is so awesome. I dig it. That's my girl right there.
It's a tie between this and I don't know. I just absolutely love this Mike Mayhew Black Cat.
Oh, I have that cover too.
Yeah, I got that.
Do you have it signed?
Mine's not signed across her boobies. No.
Well, his isn't signed across her boobies either. He said, "Is it signed?" He didn't point to the signature. He just touched her right on the tit.
I know. I think that's what it was. He was hoping it was a 3D cover.
Goddamn nipple tickler.
I love this. I want this poster. I want this tattoo on my back. I don't know.
I dare you, Mike, to get a full back tattoo of that.
I will pay for it.
Really?
Okay, Joe. How about you? Cover of the year?
Yeah, I don't watch art. I don't give a shit about it. No, I'm joking. So this was really hard for me because I pick up a lot of one per store variants and I pick up a lot of high ratio variants. So it was really hard. So I really just wanted to kind of break this down and make it simple. So I excluded one per store variants because chances are a lot of stores don't get those variants to begin with. So people probably wouldn't even recognize them.
Those stores get one of those variants by definition.
Not all stores do. It depends on the ratio of what you purchase. It's math. Don't.
So you wouldn't understand it.
Yeah, you don't understand it.
All right, there, Chief.
Just give it up. So, there are 2 per store variants. Again, it depends on how much you order to even be able to get those to begin with. So I didn't want to really just kind of bust out that stuff. So I really wanted to go with something simplistic and iconic and something that I think this is going to last for a while. So I picked up this J.J. Abrams 1 in 50 variant of Spider-Man. I really like this cover. It's simplistic. You got the moonlight in the background. Again, I'm not a huge art guy, but I just love the simplicity of this. If I had my choice, it would have been that picture I got Dan Matoya to do for me. But this is ultimately my pick of the year right there.
Gore Vidal says favorite cover of the year goes Deceased number 5 with Wonder Woman facing off against Superman. The expression on her face shows the pathos and tragedy in that story. Beautifully painful.
Good deal.
Okay. Moving on to.
I like Gore Vidal. He has no problems with writing.
Yeah.
He has no problems with that.
Very eloquent. Not with me, my Matina. With Matina.
That Matina Patina.
Yeah. Artist of the year. I think that's me. I think it's on to me. What if I said Gary Frank, Drew? What would you say?
I would tell you
I
you're
really
wrong.
disagree with you. It's got to be somebody from the Black Hammer universe.
It actually isn't, but we'll discuss it.
This is okay. I didn't get it out. Damn it. He didn't do the cover on this book, but he did the interiors, and I got kind of a tie because I was trying to figure out who I like better. Russell Dodderman has been really solid, as well as Aaron Cooter. I think his stuff in Venom has been really good. Cooter, crazy Cooter. But that's a Terry Dodson cover. But War of the Realms has been good. His art's been pretty solid in that, like I said, and as well as the Venom run too. So it's a toss up for me. I can't say who's better than the other. Those are my two favorite for the year. How about you, Mike? You have a favorite artist of the year?
Of the year, Daniel.
Should I? You know what? Y'all keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
No, Stephanie.
Does he have to come back?
Jason Alexander was great.
I love him in Seinfeld. George likes his chicken spicy.
Ryan Otley. But I'm going to have to go with my man, Jamie Tyndall. Ever since he created White Widow, he's just been blowing up. And this cover is his art. You go to the cons, you probably see his prints everywhere. And he's actually now showing up at it. He's got his own booth. And I got his art book somewhere. My man cave is a mess because of the fire and everything, so I don't know where it is.
His room got hot.
My room got hot. But yeah, Jamie Tyndall. Go check him out.
Joe, I think you grabbed something a little special there. It wasn't necessarily a comic, but you would definitely want to give a shout out to somebody.
So I'll go ahead and say Russell Dollarman was my original pick for his complete work on War of the Realms. Alone was just visually delightful. But to be quite honest, and technically we can call this guy a comic book artist because he's working on a comic book right now. I said earlier in the year when somebody was like in the chat room, I remember somebody saying, "Oh, if you think it's so easy to write a comic book, why don't you write one?" Well, I've been writing one over the last year. And Daniel Montoya is going to be my artist in it, and I finally locked him down, and so he's going to be doing the artwork for me. So he's my artist of the year because he drew this for me.
Have anybody seen that on Instagram or follow Joe on Instagram? It's a pretty good, awesome pick. There he did.
Is epically awesome, and he really takes his time and puts a lot of meaning into everything that he does. He knows I'm a fan of villains, so you got a little Joker stuff, Riddler stuff, my family, my military career, and then the whole masonry thing on top of it. He did a really good. This actually choked me up at the ceremony when my wife presented this to me. I actually had to people were giving me all kinds of other gifts, and this is the thing that kind of made me kind of just pause for a second. And luckily, you wear gloves, so I could wipe the tears out quickly. But it actually kind of choked me up for a second, and that's when I locked him down to be the artist for my comic book that I'm going to be putting out hopefully sometime next year. This year. This year.
How about you, Drew? Artist of the year.
I also had a toss-up as well. They both worked on the same series. It was my Marvel pick of the year. It will be my stash of the year. Spoiler alert: Hoxpox. And between the two, I think that the Pepe Larraz art was a little bit better than the RB Silva art, so I'm going with Pepe Larraz.
Mike is so polite. Mike, yes, sir.
I want to shout out another local guy. We met him.
Is it Pepe Larraz?
It is not.
No, I don't live near you.
It is. Oh God, let me grab it. What's his name? Troy Dungera.
Oh yeah, Dungera. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He does the Slapshot comic book, but he also does a whole bunch of other art. Go check him out. It's tunesbytroy.com. And he just texted me today making fun of me because he's a big hockey fan and I'm a Penguins fan, and
Fuck the
texted me
Pens.
while. Yeah, fuck the Pens. But yeah,
The
he'll
Caps
text
have
me
more
while
road
we're-
wins than anybody else has home wins so far this year. Just heads up. Just saying.
Caffeinated Comics said Brett Booth and Flash Forward. Very 90s feel to that book. Definitely. I remember read issue 1. Very 90s kind of feel to it. Okay, moving into Writer of the Year. And that's going to go with Mike. Your Writer of the Year?
Who did Hotspots? Jonathan Hickman?
Jonathan
That's
Hickman, my
Hickman.
friend.
Yeah.
He's Writer of the Year right there.
Yes, he is.
For taking the X-Men and flipping it upside down, and just it was genius. It was great. I loved it. He's the Writer of the Year.
What about you, Joe? Writer of the Year?
Yeah, I would have to. Actually, it's a two-way tie for me. Hickman definitely, because he fixed X-Men from that garbage age of X-Men, just garbage runs with all the garbage tie-ins. He cleaned all that mess up. He made superheroes from the past actually make some sense. Like the glowing ball thing. I thought that was great. That actually has an explanation now. I thought that was great because he definitely had his work cut out for him, and he's done great. Now, I'm not saying I like all the tie-ins that are with it or the incomplete universe, but I'm huge on X-Men right now, and I'm huge on Marauders right now. I've been saying nothing but good things about them. It's been great stuff. And of course, with him, I have to give mine to somebody who I probably should have read. Now, I've said I've should have gotten on the Black Hammer thing before. Why didn't I? I don't know. It's an independent comic. It's something easy to look over. So I have to give it to Jeff Lemire for his run on Black Hammer and Justice League. I really like what he did here. And if you're not a person that reads Black Hammer, you can dive into this and you get caught up on the characters, their motivations, their characteristics relatively simply, and they don't just mirror Justice League characters. That like everybody has their own personality in this, and that's got to be hard to write because you don't just write dialogue with a comic book, as I've been finding out. So I can actually kind of appreciate what he did in this because you got to get people caught up on it, and you still got to satisfy that Justice League itch on top of it. I thought it was a well put together story that made sense, and it had its funny moments in it as well. I really appreciate this book. So definitely Jeff Lemire and Hickman get my thumbs up for Writers of the Year. I have to give it to both of them.
Drew?
Well, with Lemire, you got Black Hammer, but you also have Gideon Falls. You also have everything he does for the big two. He's fantastic. You also had Donny Cates this year, just absolutely lit cosmic Marvel on fire. And if you haven't read Thor #1 yet, that came out New Year's Day, fantastic. Keeps surprising everybody that he can give you a killer story every time out the box, no matter what. He got Tom Taylor over at DC that did Deceased, which was a great Elseworlds story. His Suicide Squad #1 was actually a good Suicide Squad book. That's never happened before. But like all of that happening, you got Al Ewing doing some great stuff with the Hulk. You got Scotty Young had a fantastic Deadpool run, but nothing comes close to Jonathan Hickman. Powers of 10, House of X is simply the greatest comic book in the history of the world. You can quote me on that shit. Come fight me in the street. You'll lose and be wrong. But Jonathan Hickman, yeah, he's head and shoulders above everybody else. That simple.
Aggressively Relaxing wants to know, what about the Coates Black Panther and Ryan North Squirrel Girl? I mean, no fans of that?
Not me. I'm going to have to. Hickman's been great. And, X-Men's been my favorite title of the year. And he's doing a lot of great world building with that X-Men stuff. And like Joe said, flipping it around and making the X-Men titles relevant again and making them a prominent part of Marvel's universe. But I have to give it to another runner-up too has got to be Jason Aaron. A lot of his stuff, King Thor, War of the Realms, all that stuff has been great. Great for a big event book. I thought War of the Realms was good. I'm not sure where Marvel's going now with their new events. Seems like they've always got one right kicking on the horizon. But mine's got to go to Kate's again. Just because I think he's building this great world. Every title he's getting on, it seems like he's combining all of these titles into one big great world. You got Silver Surfer Black, you got Venom, you got Guardians of the Galaxy. What else? He didn't work on Thor. Thanos, his Thanos run. And I think he has something really big planned with everything. I mean, you got Null coming back and making a big appearance now, and Venom, and potentially being a huge event book coming in. So I've got to give it to Cates just for all the stuff that he's doing with all these other titles. And I think Jason Aaron's working with him too on some of the stuff. So they got some stuff behind the scenes that's really going to rock, I think, Marvel's comic book world.
Aaron did some great stuff this year. The War of the Realms was good. His Thor runs were all fantastic. But I want to touch on something real quick about artists that I didn't remember to say when I was saying it. Russell Dauterman, you liked his work in War of the Realms.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't, because I was expecting so much more, because his work in that Jane Foster Thor series had like so much more going on in it. But I like of the year before last year, I think that Dauterman definitely would have been up there.
Mike, you had your hand raised ever so nicely.
I was just gonna say, I think Donnie Cates was our pick for last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was that was all the way around. Yeah, we all agreed on that.
Gus Relax says it's a tie between Ta-Nehisi Coates. Did you say that, Joe? Yep, that's correct. And Ta-Nehisi Coates is the reason I don't pick up Captain America anymore.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Horrible. Does not know how to write. He's the blast of the year for me.
Oh, he knows how to write. It's just his content is garbage.
I don't know. When we were reading through his comic book, I would put in my own show horrible grammar in it. Horrible, just basic baseline writing skills.
You can't ask him to have grammar. That's racist.
He lacks. So, no, I'm not buying it.
Double S says tie between Donnie Cates and Jeff Lemire. And I think that's kind of the consensus on the whole panel here. Because you two like Lemire. I think everybody liked Cates. And so moving on to Stash of the Year.
Did we not do new character?
Wait, new character.
That's the end.
Oh.
We're gonna wait to do new character after Blast and Stash.
Well, we can. Okay, fine.
Shouldn't Stash of the Year be last? It's like Best Picture.
There you go.
Last of the year should be last, so we can get the hell out of here before everybody disagrees with us.
Okay. I didn't choose one. Mike, what's your new character of the year?
Oh man. You guys know White Widow's been amazing. Like I talked about Jamie Tyndall. Basically, she's female Spider-Man crossed with Venom. It's a total ripoff, but I absolutely love it. The addition to the female turtle in the Turtles, Jenica, has been amazing. But my pick for new character of the year, we met these creators in Tidewater Comic-Con, and it's Metal Shark.
Oh, yes. Oh, I didn't even think of Metal Shark. Damn it.
Basically, a shark eats a headbanger and turns into Metal Shark. It's crazy, stupid, fun.
So fun.
Violent. The creators are amazing. Bob France and Kevin Coffey. I got a print by them signed over there, but just, I'm all about the sharks and about my heavy metal music. And so Metal Shark is my pick of the year for new character.
How about you, Joe?
Well, now I want to go with Metal Shark, but I'll put who I actually picked. I actually went with Justice League Dark #7. This was our first appearance of not only one new character, but 4 of them. So you had the Upside Down Man, which was introduced in #1, but this is kind of his team, and it's kind
the
of
other kind.
I'm sorry.
The other kind.
Yeah, the other kind.
I have that written down. They were awesome too.
The other kind consists of the Soup, the Rip, the Offspring, and the Conjointed. This is classic horror, and even in this issue, watching them interact with the people that they deal with, it's actually kind of scary, and it kind of brings up some of your older Silver Age horror comic books, because that's how they kind of act. So this was really cool. I really like that entire group. I think they're fun, and we're going to see more of them here soon in Justice League Dark. So definitely wanted to give that a shout out.
Drew, favorite character of the year?
Yeah, my favorite new character is actually not a new character. It's a new take on an old character, and that's a House of X #2 and Moira X. She is the linchpin of Hickman's House of X and Powers of 10, and giving her mutant abilities and retconning that was probably the best thing that happened in comics this year.
I'm trying to find one comic character of the year. I just don't have one. I didn't look one up.
Jenica.
I'm not going to say Jenica.
Jenica.
They give it turtle titties, and Mike goes crazy.
I know, kind of like me with pig nips, huh? I like pig nips, but not pig teeth, as we established from Spider-Ham, and Double S was nice enough to point that out. Okay, moving on. Where were we? Artists of the year. Do you want to do Stash of the Year or Blast of the Year? What do you want to do first?
Blast of the year.
Blast of the Year. Okay. I got a couple, and one. I think it's actually. What's that?
Now
I
just
got a
wanna
couple.
point out-
I like it.
I got a couple. This one probably actually started back in 2012. I don't remember. Yes, Mike.
I want to point out that the Blast and Stash of the Year don't necessarily have to be books. They could be something that happened in the industry.
Okay.
Like
You can do that.
the
if you want.
passing of somebody, or I mean,
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I mean, we could talk about Tom King's crappy run on Batman. We could talk about Ta-Nehisi Coates' crappy run on Captain America.
Yeah.
But I think it started back in 2012. Doomsday Clock, that's one of them. It's been really hard to drudge through this. I haven't read the last few issues. I got all of them just to kind of maybe read them in one fail thing. I think it's a blast just because of how often it came out. It was just not on a regular schedule to come out. But my blast of the year, and I actually threw this off my balcony in a video I put on Twitter, but I took it off there because I don't want people pissed at me for throwing it off my balcony and messing the comic up. And that is Lois Lane #1. It was a garbage book. I hated it. I didn't like it. I love the old Lois Lane comics, but of course, how women are viewed in society is different than it was back in the '60s. I get that. They're more of a strong, independent woman than compared to the Lois Lane, who all she is the level of Superman and playing like, "How dare Lana Lane try to take Superman from me? I'll show her." We don't get that in here, of course. But Lois Lane #1.
Okay,
that is my blast of the year. What about you, Mike?
Blast of the year. When we got back from the Korean place, I had a blast in the toilet.
That doesn't count. I don't leave a turd in the toilet.
Probably anything Batman. It's Stanley passing. Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, your blast of the year.
So Batman was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, but honestly, I can almost forgive that. He tried something and it failed. So be it. And I wish I could show the comic book, but I just got so annoyed. And I read the entire series. I went through the entire series of this comic book. Oh, also, we can go ahead and throw Captain America in there too. Something I thought I would never say in my entire life. That was a horrible, horrible decision making there. But again, just bad decisions, people trying new things. What legitimately got put out there because the person's just incompetent was Faithless. That comic book was garbage. They tried every trope to try to get people to buy that comic book with risque covers and talked about lesbianism in it. And then there's like Kool-Aid hair wearing people telling everybody how wrong they are, and some chick that wants to bang an old guy, but her girlfriend, it's her father, and it's hard to explain because it doesn't make any sense, because it's just incoherent garbage being thrown out there. And by the way, I'm better than everybody else because I wrote a comic book. That was the comic book that made me decide to write my own comic book. So not only is it my blast of this year, but it was also my inspiration for 2019 to show that it's really not that hard to put something out there where people can at least read it and go, it's not bad. Like that's the highest compliment I expect, that my novice ass create a comic book. And then that person's getting, and I even forget who wrote the damn thing, but that person gets an Eisner, I believe. Fuck her. Seriously, worst comic book of the century.
Drew, your blast of the year.
Joey's wrong. Worst comic book of the century is Doomsday Clock. It is 12 issues of Jeff Johns being like, look at me, I'm important. What I'm doing is important. And then it ends and nothing important happens. It's a Watchmen crossover with no Watchmen characters in it. It's got Punch and Julie, or whatever the hell they're calling Marionette and Mime. It's got fake Rorschach. The comedian's in it for like half a second for no fucking reason whatsoever. The Joker's in that book for 2 issues for no reason whatsoever. Batman doesn't need to be in that book. He's just there so they can draw Batman. Gary Frank loses his mind and can't figure out how to draw halfway through that series. It just gets really bad. It was delayed for over a year and the art is no better for it. The ending was absolutely pointless. The ending of that book is basically like, hey man, it doesn't matter how bad this is, something else good will come along eventually. That's basically what Jeff Johns says. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, we're all going to do all these things in the future. But he didn't really even work at DC anymore. So none of these things are going to happen. Rebirth, which was a fantastic line of comics that came out and reshaped the DC universe with hope and passion and a real understanding of the characters, is over now and ended without this ending it. And Dan Didio has gone back to the New 52 garbage that nobody liked in the first place. Not only is it a bad comic, not only did it take forever to come out, not only is the art absolute pedestrian, not only does it not say anything at all, but it's a linchpin of the falling down of one of the biggest comic book publishers in the history of the world. DC Comics is dead, my friends. I wish it could rest in peace, but it fucking won't. It'll writher around on the ground and say, oh, well, we're doing this Bendis Superman reveal, and nobody who actually likes Superman will actually care about it. DC Comics killed itself with Doomsday Clock. Nail in the coffin, man. Fucking terrible.
Okay. Moving on to now, we're going to go with the stash here. Now we've got done saying something negative about these books. Well, let's say something positive. Let's end this on the positive note. Mike, your stash of the year. Was it you? I think you're up.
Why is it always me?
It doesn't have to be always
just
you.
this time.
Just this time.
Anything X-Men this year. Hoxpox. Going to the clinic. And Disney Plus. Disney Plus gets a stash.
Joe, moving on to Joe. What's your stash of the year?
Feels like I just went. God, I've been drinking a lot.
It's that rice wine, man.
Right? I'm going to go with Punisher Kill Crew. It's the only thing that really surprised me. X-Men's been great. I'm not taking away from anything else by picking this, but there was just some crazy stuff that happened in here, just mind-blowingly crazy. And it was a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have fit, like a goat dragging a van through space to go take care of some war babies. It should not have worked. It should have just been stupid. It should have been forgotten about. But every time I was going through the box, I was like, oh, that thing where they shot the dude through the head, that was awesome. Or where they were taking the swords and putting it through the giant's fingernails. I was like, oh my God, I remember that. So stash, because the crazy stuff that happened in this entire series was probably the most memorable. And it was outside of, it was like watching a torture manual, only humorous. So yeah, Punisher Kill Crew. I'm going with that for the year.
How about you, Drew?
Do I really need to say anything? Jonathan Hickman turned the world upside down and brought the X-Men back to prominence, and did it with grace and aplomb, and he did it with beautiful art, and he did it by taking over the editorial and then moving on to create other stories by other artists and writers that really all fit together in the kind of continuity that I want in my storytelling. Like Punisher Kill Crew was all okay. Like everybody's got their opinions, but out of the 3 Punisher books, I thought that was my least favorite. So it is what it is. Everybody's got their own thing to say here, but factually, Hoxpox is the greatest thing since sliced bread with naked ladies on top.
It's not factually if it's an opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. It's a fact. I'm just telling you right now.
Let's look up a definition.
Okay,
The definition of Hoxpox is the best.
Yeah.
As Drew is referencing Webster's dictionary, I'm going to talk about my stash of the year. I'm going to have to go with Hickman's House of X Powers of 10 as well, just because it's revamped all these characters we love. I think they were kind of having a downward spiral with a lot of their stories and where they were going. I think Hickman's turned that boat completely around and gave us a reason to love X-Men again. And I think the art's been great in it. The storytelling's been great. Again, like I said, I don't like all lovely having a beard. All the stories that came out of that, but still there's some great stories like the Marauders, X-Force, X-Men. Those titles are still coming in great, even though Hickman's not writing on those particular books or all of those books. I think he's still on X-Men, but he's revamped it enough to where other writers and artists can jump in and go, hey, let's make a great story out of this because he built this solid base for the X-Men moving forward. So X-Men House of X Powers of 10 for me. Mike, you were done, right? That you already said yours, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. We're wrapped up. We did our stash. We did our blast. Hoxpox. Now we're going to go get some penicillin for Hoxpox.
Oh, let me show you this.
The disease I don't want to cure for.
This is Huey in disguise.
With the dyed beard. With the dyed beard.
4 years.
Okay. What's that, Mike? You didn't have your hand raised that time. I'm not going to call on you. Yes, Mike.
4 years. Dave, do you like mayonnaise?
Yeah, I like mayonnaise. It's okay. I like it on my sandwich.
You like it on a sandwich?
I like it on my sandwich and my burger. Yeah,
Do you
sure.
like bologna with your mayonnaise?
I like bologna. I like a little bologna. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on. Thanks everybody for stopping in tonight. And thanks Mike and Drew for coming back in and being part of the Blaster Stash crew. We had some disagreements and some of the, as we always do. We always have our own opinions on what's good, what's great, what's better. And that's what thing is great. Mike, yes. I'm doing my outro, Mike. What?
I just want to shout out Davis Comic Finds. He just popped in here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Dave.
So, as it is great to have Mike and Drew back in here and be a little nostalgic about, reviewing comics and
And keep in mind, I have to get up in 4 hours and go.
So
to work.
I'm trying to wrap it up. You keep interrupting me. Okay. Usually I have a note. Did I cut off Joe tonight? Do you have anything to say before we get out of here, Joe?
Hey, don't forget that tomorrow night's our weekly comic book review show, and we are going to do an auction. So definitely you want to be here for that auction because I'm going to be bringing some fire. So definitely swing by for that. All these proceeds go to pay for our Emerald City Comic Con. So thank you in advance for showing up.
Yep. How about you, Drew? Any last minute things before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Catch me on the SNB network, mostly on Wednesdays or Thursdays, where me and Comics Misexplained, Mr. Jason Cantu, do the Cantu Manchu review crew. We review one single book each week, and we debate about it. Sometimes we talk about Doomsday Clock, and I just yell at him for 45 minutes, and then I have to edit that into something worth people watching. Beyond that, I do reviews on the Comcore channel, and I'm over there on Friday nights on the Off the Rails show. So you can check me out there. And be sure Monday nights, if you guys aren't doing anything Monday nights, Carson Woodard, Seawood 19, and his buddies over there, Comic Man Andy, and Discovery Bay Comics do Modern Men, which is a show where they focus on the modern age of comic books, and criminally underwatched that show. So check that out. Those guys do a great job.
How about you, Mike? Any last minute shout out before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, I don't do anything anymore on YouTube. So
you don't even do hauls anymore, do you?
I don't get the books till a week later. So
okay.
I get back into it, and like I said, with the fire happening, I wasn't sure where we were going to stand financially, so I cut back on a lot of stuff. But we're getting back. We're getting back.
He's busy. Check out Mike stocking Pepsi at a store near you. If you see him, go give him a wedgie. Just as Joe said earlier, tomorrow night's our normal review night. We're going to be reviewing the books that came out January 1st, and then we're in the following week, Saturday. We're doing an auction show. I think I was digging through my collection. I have some doubles. I think I have some pretty good stuff that I might be able to
Put that
sell
Lois
on
Lane up.
I might put my lowest lane up. It's got a bent corner because it flew off the balcony. But
Shh, don't tell people that. Wait till they get it in the mail.
No, that's what it is. And then we have our auction show. I said next Saturday on the 11th, our normal show on the 12th, and then of course Joe and I are headed to
Davis Comic. I don't want to interrupt, but I got a really great joke.
What's that?
Davis Comic Find says Mike's videos are rare but powerful, just like his orgasms.
So Mike, Joe and I are headed to Emerald City Comic Con in March. That's 12th to the 15th. So we're planning on that on out. And I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and bounce out of here. We hope you enjoyed the show. Go check us out on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, all those social medias. Go get entered into the Book of the Month contest and join and support us financially over there. Again, thumbs up and a share is always appreciated. With that, whether you blast it with a stashy, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next year on the Blast of the Stashies.
True Manchu, baby.
Bye.